There is a moment you may never get back, a door that only opens once. If you turn away now, you will remain trapped in the same repeating cycles, living the same struggles, replaying the same fears. Time is slipping. Every second you hesitate, the version of you that is abundant, healed, and radiant drifts further out of reach. This is not a game. This is the one chance to step into the life you were meant for. Ignore this whisper, and you risk never hearing it again. Inside you, there has always been a signal, a pull you cannot explain, a reminder that the reality you see is only a fragment of what is possible. Science confirms it. Bruce Lipton has shown that you are not chained to your DNA or your past. Your biology bends to your beliefs. Joe Dispenza has proven that you cannot create a new reality while drowning in the emotions of your old self. The truth is sharp. What you embody is what the quantum reflects. Wanting is useless if you radiate fear. Affirmations are empty if your body vibrates with doubt. The quantum field is alive. It listens to every frequency you hold in your heart, your breath, your nervous system. And it responds with ruthless precision. It does not care about your wishes. It mirrors your state. That is why so many people fail. They think about abundance, but vibrate scarcity. They pray for love, but live in fear. They dream of health, but breathe despair. Right now, you are standing at the edge. This is the threshold where old timelines collapse and a new one begins. Close your eyes. Feel the current moving through you. It has always been here, waiting. The only question is this: will you claim it in this moment, or let it vanish forever? Imagine waking up tomorrow, looking in the mirror, and feeling the same heaviness in your chest, the same thoughts circling like vultures, the same dread of another day lived on repeat. How long will you tolerate the prison of your own patterns? How long will you postpone the life calling to you? You already know this cycle. You have seen it. You wake up, promise yourself change, then slip back into routines that keep you small. You scroll, you numb, you survive. A thriving remains a stranger. And yet, beneath all of that, beneath the noise, there is still the whisper. The whisper that insists you are made for more. This whisper is not fantasy. It is the signal of your highest self breaking through the static. It is biology and destiny colliding. Lipton showed us that your environment, your thoughts, your emotions rewrite the language of your cells. You are not condemned by your genes. You are liberated by your choices. Every belief you hold floods your body with chemical signals that sculpt who you become. You are the architect of your inner world. And here is what Dispenza revealed. As long as you wake up with yesterday's emotions, you collapse yesterday's reality again and again. You cannot think your way into a new future while your body is addicted to the past. You must break the spell. You must step out of the loop. You must choose the unknown over the familiar chains. Do you feel the urgency? This is not tomorrow's work. This is not next week's project. This is now. Because every moment you stay aligned with fear, fear becomes your future. Every moment you carry doubt, doubt becomes your destiny. But if you shift now, if you embody the vibration of who you truly are, the quantum has no choice but to mirror it back to you. Picture this: a young man in New York City, corporate job, long hours, empty eyes staring at glowing screens. For years he drowned in repetition. Wake, commute, work, drink, sleep, repeat. He knew he was dying inside, but he had no language for it. Until one night the whisper grew louder than his excuses. He walked away. He stepped into meditation, study, practice. Today he stands on stages across America, teaching others to hear their own whisper. The world calls him a speaker, but he is something more. He is living proof that the call is real. And what about you? How long will you ignore the pull inside your chest? How long will you convince yourself that one day you will be ready? One day never comes. Only now exists. Only this moment decides which timeline you collapse into. So I ask you to pause. Feel your breath. Feel the quiet energy moving through you. It is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is the voice of the infinite reminding you that you were born for alignment, coherence, expansion. This is the moment to declare it. This is the moment to step forward. Type in the comments. Right now. Say it with your own hands. Write these words. I have heard the whisper. Declare it to yourself. Declare it to the field. Seal it into this timeline. The act of writing is not small. It is a signal. It is energy translated into action. And action is how you collapse possibility into reality. This is your threshold. Cross it or stay behind. There is no in between. There is no waiting. The whisper is here. The field is alive. The choice is yours. And so we arrive at the question that demands to be answered. If the whisper has always been with you, if it has always called, where does it truly come from? That whisper comes from within you, because consciousness itself is the creator of reality. Pause and let that sink in. If consciousness is the creator, then every thought you allow, every emotion you embody, every belief you cling to is not passive. It is an instruction. It is a blueprint. It is the signal you send into the quantum field, and the field responds with absolute precision. What you hold inside is mirrored outside. What you broadcast becomes the fabric of your life. So I ask, you know, what have you been creating? Look at your circumstances. Look at your relationships. Look at your health. Do you see random accidents? Or do you see reflections of the very states you carry inside? The truth may feel unsettling, but it is liberating. Because if you created this, you can create something entirely new. Bruce Lipton, a pioneer in cellular biology, shattered the old myth that your DNA is your destiny. His work in epigenetics revealed that your genes are not fixed sentences passed down without choice. They are possibilities. Switches waiting to be activated or silenced. And what flips those switches? Your environment, your beliefs, your inner chemistry. Every thought, every conviction, every feeling releases chemical messengers that instruct your cells on how to behave. You are literally sculpting your biology with your consciousness. Think about that. You are not chained to your past. You are not bound by genetics. You are not doomed by circumstance. You are the architect of your internal environment, and your biology follows your design. This is not speculation. This is science. And Joe Dispenza, once a chiropractor who turned his personal healing into a global movement, teaches the same principle through another lens. He shows us that you cannot step into a new future while dragging the emotions of your old self. If you wake up with the same thoughts, feel the same fears, repeat the same routines, then you collapse the same reality over and over again. The field does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your state. So what happens when you change that state? When you breathe differently? When you shift from fear into gratitude? When you hold a vision of yourself not as broken but as whole? The quantum responds instantly. You align with a new timeline. You collapse into a reality that was always waiting for you. Do you feel the gravity of this? This is not philosophy. This is not daydreaming. This is power. Power that has always been yours. And if you doubt it, let me tell you a story. There was a soldier, an American veteran who came home carrying the scars of war, both visible and invisible. Nightmares, flashbacks, a body locked in survival. Doctors told him the truth he dreaded most, that he would never heal, that PTSD would own him for the rest of his life, that he would have to manage it, medicate it, endure it. For years he believed them. For years he lived in a loop of despair. But then he discovered meditation. He began to question the story written for him. He read Bruce Lipton. He studied Joe Dispenza. He realized his body was not his enemy. It was his student. And his consciousness was the teacher. So he practiced. Day after day, he sat in silence. He replaced fear with presence. He replaced hopelessness with gratitude. Slowly, his biology responded. Neural pathways rewired. His chemistry shifted. His body learned a new language. Months passed, then years, and one day the impossible became undeniable. The nightmares faded. The triggers dissolved. His body was no longer trapped in war. He had written a new reality with the pen of consciousness. Today, that soldier is whole. Today, he stands as living evidence that your mind can heal your body, that your inner world commands your outer one. Now ask yourself, if he could do it, why not you? If he could break the chains of trauma, what chains are you waiting to break? How many times will you look in the mirror and pretend you are powerless when the truth has always been that you are the power? Do not wait. Do not postpone. This is the moment to claim it. To look at your life and declare, I am the architect. I am not a victim of my past. I am the creator of my future. Type a single symbol right now. A heart. Let it be your declaration, your signal to yourself and to the field. You are choosing creation. You are choosing power. You are choosing to. Step out of the old story and write the new one with your own hand. Because here is the mystery. If we are truly creators, if we hold this much power, then why are so many people still trapped? Why do millions still repeat the same cycles, even after hearing this truth? Why do they remain in fear, in doubt, in scarcity? The question now is this: if you truly have the power to create your reality, why are so many still stuck? Because you are chained inside an invisible prison, a prison built not of walls or bars, but of habits and old emotions. Stop and feel those words. An invisible prison. You cannot see the bars, but you feel them every single morning. You wake up with the same thoughts. You step into the same patterns. You react to the same triggers. And before you know it, the day is already decided. Not by freedom, not by possibility, but by repetition. This is why you feel stuck. This is why change feels impossible. Because your body is addicted. Addicted not just to substances, but to emotions. The fear, the anger, the stress, the sadness. They release chemicals into your bloodstream, and your brain chases them like a drug. Science has mapped this prison. Neuroscience calls it the habit loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. It is the cycle that runs beneath your awareness. Something triggers you. Your body craves the familiar chemical rush. You respond with the same behavior, and the brain rewards you with dopamine, that fleeting sense of comfort. It does not matter if the habit destroys you. The loop does not. Care, it only repeats. How many times have you promised yourself that tomorrow will be different? How many times have you sworn you would stop smoking, stop drinking, stop wasting time? And yet, when the cue appears, the craving pulls, and the response takes over, you collapse into the same loop again. This is not weakness. This is wiring. And until you break the wiring, you remain a prisoner. Let me give you a story. In Texas, there was a man, obese, tired, living in cycles he could not escape. Every morning he reached for soda. Every evening he lit another cigarette. He knew it was killing him. He knew his heart was failing. Doctors warned him again and again. But knowledge was not enough. His brain demanded the familiar. His body craved the chemicals of comfort. And so he repeated, day after day, week after week, until one night, alone in his living room, his chest locked. Pain seared through his body. He collapsed to the floor. And in that terrifying silence between life and death, he realized the truth. The prison was not outside. It was inside. The chains were not made of steel. They were made of habits. He survived that night, but not unchanged. It was his wake-up call, a brutal reminder that time is not infinite, that unless he broke the loop would break him. How many of you are waiting for a wake-up call like that? How many of you will only listen when the body screams? Do not wait. Do not force life to shake you awake with crisis. You can break the loop now. Think about what the science is telling us. Every time you repeat a thought, you strengthen a pathway in the brain. Neurons that fire together, wire together. The more you indulge the habit, the deeper the groove. And your mind falls into it like water running down a carved channel. That is why it feels automatic. That is why it feels stronger than you. But here's the truth. If your brain can wire itself into a prison, it can wire itself into freedom. Plasticity is real. Change is possible, but only if you decide to break the cycle before the cycle breaks you. So I ask you directly, do you want to stay chained? Do you want to wake up tomorrow and replay today's prison again? Or will you take the key that has always been in your hands? The first step is recognition. To see the habit loop for what it is, to name the cue, to notice the craving, to interrupt the response, to deny the fake reward. You must become conscious of what has always been unconscious. But recognition is not enough. You must act, and you must act now, not later, not tomorrow. The loop strengthens with every repetition. The longer you wait, the tighter the chains. So let this be your line in the sand. Declare it. Break the spell with words that are stronger. Then craving. In the comments below, type this single command. STOP, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a decree. STOP is your signal to your brain. STOP is your signal to your body. STOP is your key to the lock. Because when you type stop, you are not just writing letters. You are collapsing a new possibility into reality. You are telling the field, telling your biology, telling yourself that the loop ends here. Do not underestimate this. Words create worlds, and your declaration can be the spark that lights a fire of change. So ask yourself now, will you stay asleep inside your invisible prison, or will you break the loop before it breaks you? The science is clear. The story is real. The prison is undeniable, but so is your power. And the question that remains is this. If your brain can rewire itself into chains, can it also rewire itself to open a new door? It can. Your brain is not fixed. It can be rewired. That single truth changes everything. For centuries, people believed the brain was rigid, that once damaged or once set in patterns, it could not change. But now we know better. Neuroscience has shattered the old myth. Your brain is plastic, flexible, alive with potential. It can carve new pathways. It can erase old ones. It can reinvent itself completely. Do you realize what this means? You are not trapped in who you were yesterday. You are not condemned to repeat the same mistakes forever. You are not bound to the chains of your past. Your brain holds the power to become something new. But the question is, will you use it? The science is undeniable. Consider the famous London taxi driver study. To become licensed, drivers must memorize an impossibly complex web of streets, alleys and routes known simply as the knowledge. Years of study, years of repetition. And when scientists studied their brains, they found something extraordinary. The hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and navigation, had physically grown. gray matter had expanded. The brain had literally reshaped itself in response to learning. Think about that. The human brain is not a stone. It is clay. It is sculpted by experience, molded by attention, reshaped by repetition. Every new skill, every new thought, every new choice rewires the map of your mind. But what about those who lose everything? Can even they be rebuilt? Let me tell you about a young man in California. He suffered a devastating accident. When he awoke in the hospital, his memories were gone. Simple tasks like speaking, walking, eating had to be relearned from the ground up. Doctors doubted he could ever live independently, but he refused to accept that story. He trained, day after day, repetition after repetition. He forced his brain to relearn what it had forgotten. Slowly, new neural pathways formed. He spoke again. He walked again. He learned to live again. Today he stands as living evidence that the brain can be rebuilt. That neuroplasticity is not theory, but reality. So I ask you, if his brain, shattered and stripped of memory, could be remade through persistence, what excuse do you have? What limits are you still clinging to? How many times have you told yourself, this is just who I am? That is a lie. That is not who you are. That is who you have rehearsed being. And what has been rehearsed can be rewritten. Every thought you repeat is practice. Every emotion you feed is training. You are not just thinking. You are wiring. You are laying down circuits that will decide who you are tomorrow. And here is the most urgent truth. If you do not consciously rewire your brain, it will wire itself by default. It will wire itself to your fears, to your habits, to your past. So I demand you ask yourself now, what are you rehearsing? Scarcity or abundance? Fear or courage? Doubt or faith? The choice is yours. The science is clear. Your brain will become whatever you tell it to become. This is why neuroplasticity is not just fascinating. It is terrifying, because it leaves you without excuses. You cannot blame fate. You cannot blame genetics. You cannot blame circumstance. If your brain can be rewired, then every day you remain stuck is a day you choose to remain stuck. But imagine what becomes possible when you choose differently. Imagine practicing gratitude until it becomes the automatic response of your nervous system. Imagine rehearsing confidence until it is no longer an act, but your default state. Imagine training your brain to see opportunity where it once only saw obstacles. That is not a fantasy. That is neuroplasticity. And here is the call to action. Do not let another day reinforce the wiring of fear. Do not let another day deepen the grooves of doubt. Take control. Begin the rewiring now. Type a single word in the comments. Yes. By typing yes, you are not just interacting. You are declaring. You are choosing. You are signaling to your brain and to the field that you are ready to be rewired. Do not underestimate this act. Every signal counts. Every declaration matters. Your brain listens to what you tell it. And when you say yes, you plant the seed of transformation. So the question becomes urgent. If the brain can be rewired, if you can sculpt it into the shape of your future, how do you do it? How do you move from theory to practice? How do you step into the version of yourself waiting on the other side of old patterns? The answer is waiting. And it begins with learning how to step into the new self. Which brings us to the next question. How do you rewire your brain to step into the version of you that already exists? You need the embodied leap, a step into a brand new timeline. Pause. Let those words echo. A leap is not thinking. It is not wishing. It is action. It is embodiment. It is stepping with both feet into the self that already exists in the quantum field. And if you do not leap, you remain frozen, watching life pass by. waiting for a tomorrow that never arrives. So how do you leap? How do you embody the future instead of waiting for it? The path is not complicated, but it is demanding. There are 4 steps, 4 pillars that carry you from the prison of the old self into the freedom of the new. Step 1. Break free from the old self. That version of you addicted to fear, chained to routines, trapped in the same reactions. You must let them die. The thoughts, the habits, the emotions of yesterday cannot survive if you want tomorrow to be different. Ask yourself, how many times have you promised change while carrying the same emotional baggage? You cannot leap while holding anchors. Cut them loose. Step 2. Awaken elevated emotion, gratitude, love, joy, inspiration. These are not luxuries. They are frequencies. They are the signals your body sends into the field. Neuroscience shows us that when the heart and brain synchronize in these states, your body radiates an electromagnetic field thousands of times stronger than in ordinary states. You literally broadcast transformation. The universe does not listen to your words. It listens to your frequency. Step 3. Live as if it is already done. Walk as if abundance is your natural state. Breathe as if health flows through every cell. Love as if connection already surrounds you. When you embody the reality before it arrives, you collapse the wave of probability into the particle of reality. You pull the future into the now. Step 4. Let go and trust. Control is an illusion. The old self clings. The new self surrenders. When you release the need to know how and when, you allow the field to align. Faith is not weakness. Faith is magnetic. It pulls your timeline into existence. And if you wonder whether this works, let me tell you a story. A mother in Los Angeles, single, struggling, 2 jobs, bills piling up, nights filled with tears and prayers. She had every reason to surrender to despair, but she chose differently. She discovered meditation. She practiced gratitude not as words, but as a state of being. Every morning she woke and thanked life for blessings that had not yet arrived. She walked through her days as if abundance was already hers. Slowly her outer world began to shift. Opportunities appeared. People were drawn to her light. Within years, she had not only risen out of poverty, but built a thriving life for herself and her children, not by chance, not by luck, but by leaping into the frequency of the self she chose to embody. So I ask you directly, what will you choose? Will you remain in the echo of your old self? Or will you leap into the version that has been waiting for you all along? The science is clear. The stories are real. The choice is now. The leap is yours. I want you to act right now. Not later, not someday. Choose your step today. Write it in the comments. Type the number 1 if you are ready to break free from the old self. Type the number 2 if you will awaken elevated emotion. Type the number 3 if you will live as if it is already done. Type the number 4 if you will surrender and trust. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Declare it now. Let the field hear your choice. This is not entertainment. This is initiation. Each keystroke is a signal. Each declaration is a ripple in the quantum. When you act, you align. When you commit, you collapse new possibilities into your reality. But I must warn you, the leap is not the end. It is the beginning. Because the moment you step into a higher timeline, life will test you. The old self will fight for survival. Circumstances will rise to challenge your resolve. And the question becomes urgent. When life pushes back, when challenges erupt, when the storm surrounds you, how do you hold your leap? How do you keep walking when the old prison calls you home? That is the next threshold. That is the next secret. And the question now is this: when life tests your leap, How do you remain unshaken? Every challenge is a mirror reflecting where you are still entangled. Let that truth cut through you. The trials you face are not punishments. They are signals. They are mirrors showing you the cracks that remain, the wounds unhealed, the places where the old self still whispers. And if you refuse to see them, you repeat them. If you ignore them, they return stronger. Every obstacle is an invitation. But will you see it as destruction or as direction? Stress is the most common of these mirrors, and it is also the most dangerous. Science tells us stress is not neutral. Bruce Lipton revealed that when you are stressed, your body shifts into survival mode. Your blood flows away from growth and healing. Your cells stop regenerating. Your immune system weakens. Stress locks you into fight or flight, preventing the very healing you are desperate for. In stress, you cannot create, you cannot expand, you cannot leap. But stress is not only an enemy, it is also a messenger. It shows you exactly where you must choose differently. When the pressure rises, when the fear spikes, you are being asked a question. Will you collapse into the old reaction, or will you breathe, rise, and step into the new self? Think of it this way. Every test is an opportunity to prove to your nervous system that you are no longer the old you. Every time you choose presence over panic, gratitude over fear, trust over control, you are rewiring. You are teaching your body that the new self is real. That is how the leap becomes permanent. Let me tell you a story. A man in Silicon Valley, brilliant, driven. He built a startup with everything he had, and he failed. Investors pulled out. Friends turned away. He was left with nothing. Most would quit, but he tried again and failed again. Then he tried a third time and failed again. Each collapse could have been the end. Each stress could have dragged him back into despair. But he treated each failure as a test, a mirror. With every loss, he studied himself. He saw the fear he still carried, the doubts he still fed, and he chose differently. On the fourth attempt, everything aligned. Investors returned. Customers poured in. His vision finally took root. And when asked what made the difference, he said it was not luck. It was not timing. It was his willingness to face the tests without collapsing, to let each challenge reveal where he needed to grow. That was the shift. That was the leap that held. So what about you? How do you see your challenges? Do you curse them? Do you run from them? Or do you recognize them as mirrors? Do you dare to look into them and see where the old self still hides? You must understand this. The leap you made into the new timeline will always be tested. Life does not test you to break you. Life tests you to anchor you, to make sure the leap is not just a thought, but a reality embedded in your nervous system. Stress will appear, doubt will rise, fear will whisper. But each time you choose differently, you prove to your body, your brain, and the field that you are no longer who you were. That is how the leap becomes permanent. That is how the new self stabilizes. So here is my demand. Do not see your tests as enemies. See them as invitations. Invitations to choose again. Invitations to prove your leap. Invitations to strengthen. Your new wiring dot. Right now, you may be facing a challenge. Maybe it feels unbearable. Maybe it feels unfair. But I tell you this. That challenge is the mirror. That mirror is your chance. Do not collapse. Do not give up. Choose again. Say it with me. I choose again. And I want you to write it right now. In the comments below, type these words. I choose again. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your anchor. Let it be the way you turn stress into strength. Because here is the reality. Life will never stop testing. Challenges will never stop coming. But you can stop collapsing. You can start seeing every test as the proof that you are stepping deeper into the new self. And so, the question becomes urgent. If challenges are mirrors, if stress is a messenger, how do you carry this awareness into every single day? How do you make sure the leap is not something you practice once, but something you live continuously? The question now is this: how do you maintain the leap every single day by choosing your new self again and again every single day? That is the secret. Transformation is not a single leap. It is not one decision made once in a lifetime. It is the relentless practice of becoming, the daily choice to embody the future self, no matter what yesterday looked like. The new you is not built in a moment. The new you is built in repetition. Neuroscience confirms it. The brain is wired through patterns. Every time you repeat a behavior, a thought, or an emotion, you lay down a path in your neural network. Repeat it enough, and that path becomes the default. Studies show it takes between 21 to 66 days of repetition for a new habit to carve itself deep into the brain. That is not guesswork. That is biology. So I ask you, what paths are you carving? Are you still rehearsing fear? Are you still practicing doubt? Or are you willing to rehearse gratitude, courage, and faith until they become your natural state? Every day you repeat the new self, the easier it becomes to live in that timeline. And here lies the power. Small habits, practiced daily, create unstoppable momentum. You do not need to climb the mountain in one leap. You need to take a single step every day without fail. That is how new neural highways are built. That is how the impossible becomes inevitable. Let me tell you a story. There was an American athlete. He was told his dream was finished before it began. A devastating accident left him disabled. Doctors said competition was impossible. He should give up, accept the limitations, and move on. But he refused. Every day he trained, not in giant leaps, but in small, deliberate steps. One repetition, one movement, one practice at a time. For years, he rewired his brain and his body. Slowly, the impossible began to bend, until one day, he stood not as a victim, but as a champion. He competed in the Paralympics, and he won, not by chance, not by miracle, but by living proof that daily repetition rewires destiny. So what about you? Are you waiting for a breakthrough? Are you waiting for life to hand you a transformation? Or will you build it brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice? The truth is simple but powerful. Your new self is not built on inspiration. It is built on repetition. The habits you choose today will decide the reality you live tomorrow. Every morning you wake up is another chance to rehearse the future. And every night you go to bed, your brain is strengthened by the choices you repeated throughout the day. Do not underestimate the small. A simple act of gratitude every morning. A single moment of meditation. One conscious breath when stress arises. These small habits are the chisels that sculpt the masterpiece of your future self. But I must warn you, if you do not choose consciously, your brain will default to the old self. It will rehearse fear, rehearse scarcity, rehearse the story of the past. And with each day, those grooves get deeper. That is the danger of unconscious living. Every moment you do not choose the new self, the old self is choosing you. So here is the call. Do not wait. Do not drift. Choose now. Choose daily. Anchor yourself in the identity you want to live. Say it with me. I am. Two words that carry infinite power. I am abundant. I am healed. I am strong. I am whole. Write it in the comments. Type these two words with conviction. I am. Let the field hear it. Let your brain wire it. Let your body feel it. I am is the anchor of the new self. This is the discipline of mastery. To rise each day and choose again. to practice the future until it is no longer practice, but reality, to rehearse the new self until the old one dissolves. So I ask you now, will you choose once and drift back into the past? Or will you choose every single day until the new self is the only self that remains? Because here lies the next mystery. Daily choice is powerful, but it needs something deeper. A key to anchor the new state so it does not fade when life shakes you. And the question is urgent. What is that key? What is the secret that allows you not just to practice the new self, but to lock it in place forever? The question now is this. What is the key that anchors your new state so it cannot be lost? That is ritual. The anchor that holds your frequency in place. Understand this. A ritual is not superstition. It is not empty repetition. It is a signal. A cue that tells your brain and body who you are choosing to be. Rituals are anchors for the new self. They remind you. They steady you. They lock you into alignment when chaos tempts you back into the past. Neuroscience proves it. Studies show that rituals trigger the release of dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals of stability and reward. Rituals calm the nervous system. They create order in the brain. They transform your state with precision. Think of them as keys. Each ritual you practice is a key that unlocks the frequency you want to embody. So what is your ritual? Do you wake and reach for your phone, flooding your mind with noise and distraction? Or do you rise in silence, breathe deeply, write, meditate, and signal to the universe who you are? The difference is everything. The ritual you choose each morning sets the frequency of your entire day. And this is not theory. Let me give you a story. In Chicago, there was a CEO. His company faced collapse. The market was brutal. Investors doubted. Employees panicked. Every day he walked into the office with the weight of failure pressing on his shoulders. And yet, he did not crumble. Why? Because every morning, before the chaos began, he practiced his ritual. He meditated. He wrote in his journal. He aligned his heart and his mind. And when he walked into the storm, he carried the stillness he had anchored. His calm was contagious. His vision was clear. He led his company through the crisis and into new growth. And when asked how he endured, he said simply, "My rituals saved me." So I ask you now, what rituals are you practicing? Are they the rituals of distraction, fear, and chaos? Or are they the rituals that anchor gratitude, focus, and power? This is urgent, because rituals shape identity. Each time you repeat them, you carve a groove into your brain. You build pathways that hold you in the frequency of the new self. Without them, you drift. With them, you anchor. And you do not need grand rituals. A single conscious breath before you begin your day. A journal entry of gratitude. A moment of meditation. A walk in silence. These small acts repeated with intention create unshakable alignment. So I demand this of you. Choose your ritual. Declare it. Right now. In the comments below, write one small action you will begin today. A breath, a word, a practice. Anchor it now. Do not wait. Do not delay. Choose the ritual that will hold your frequency. Because here is the mystery. When one person anchors themselves, their life changes. But when many people anchor together, when groups align their rituals, something greater happens. Frequencies amplify. Coherence spreads. The field responds not just to individuals, but to collectives. Imagine it. Dozens, hundreds, thousands of people choosing gratitude together, breathing together, meditating together, anchoring into higher states at the same time. What would happen to the field? What would happen to the reality we share? This is the power waiting to be unleashed. And the question you must carry forward is this. What happens when many begin to synchronize into higher frequencies at once? When many hearts beat in coherence, miracles unfold. This is not poetry. This is physics. When one heart radiates gratitude or love, it generates a measurable electromagnetic field. But when many hearts synchronize, those fields overlap. They amplify. They create a resonance so powerful, it affects not only the individuals, but the environment itself. Do you feel the magnitude of this? You are not just an isolated being. You are a transmitter, a receiver, a node in the great field. And when groups align their states, reality bends. Science has already proven it. At the HeartMath Institute, researchers studied the effect of group meditation. They found that when communities gathered with shared intention, crime rates dropped, violence decreased, the field shifted, not because of politics, not because of laws, but because of resonance. Coherence in the human heart radiated out and shaped the collective reality. What does this mean for you? It means your emotions matter far beyond your skin. Your state is not private. It is public. It ripples into the field we all share. And when you choose coherence, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing your world. Let me give you a story. In California, there was a small community. Ordinary people, parents, teachers, shopkeepers, but they shared one practice. Each evening they gathered to meditate, to breathe together, to hold gratitude in their hearts. At first, it was subtle, but soon something extraordinary happened. The energy of the entire neighborhood shifted. Tension dissolved. Conflicts faded. Strangers smiled. The streets felt lighter. Police reported fewer disturbances. Visitors noticed peace in the air. It was as if the whole community had stepped into a new timeline, not through force, not through control, but through coherence. So I ask you, what would happen if thousands of us aligned? What would happen if millions radiated coherence together? Could we shift entire cities? Could we shift entire nations? Could we shift the world? The science suggests yes. The stories confirm yes. The field is waiting. This is why your role is not small. You matter. Your heart matters. Your state matters. Because together, we create resonance that no force can deny. So here is the call to action. Do not watch this passively. Participate. Join the field. Right now, type the word together in the comments. Declare your unity. Declare your coherence. Declare that you are part of this resonance. Because when you write together, you are not just typing. You are joining a wave. You are adding your frequency to the collective. And let this truth strike deep. Alone you can change your life. Together we can change the field. But now the question turns inward again. Because while collective coherence is powerful, your path is unique. Your leap is personal. Your next step cannot be borrowed from another. So the question becomes urgent. What is the leap that is waiting for you? What is the next step that only you can take? The question now is this. What is the next leap meant just for you? The next leap is yours and yours alone. No teacher can take it for you. No mentor can carry you across. No community can substitute for the step that only you can choose. The journey has always been leading you here, to this moment, to this decision. Look back and see the path. You heard the whisper calling. You realized consciousness is the architect. You broke the prison of habit. You discovered the brain can be rewired. You learned to embody the new self. You faced the tests that tried to break you. You chose daily. You anchored with ritual. You joined the power of community. And now the spotlight turns to you, not in theory, not someday, but now. Physics itself confirms it. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect shows us that what you focus on collapses into reality. Attention is not passive, it is creative. The moment you give something your focus, you give it existence. So the question is no longer can you create? The question is what will you create? What reality will you collapse with your attention today? Do not underestimate the weight of this. Every thought is a vote. Every feeling is a broadcast. Every action is a declaration. The leap is not just a dream. It is the physics of creation. And if you doubt it, listen to this story. There was a student in America, poor, overlooked. He worked nights washing dishes just to survive. Everyone told him to be realistic, to aim small, to accept limitation. But he refused. He changed his mind before his circumstances changed. He studied relentlessly. He practiced gratitude when there was nothing to be grateful for. He saw himself as more than a dishwasher. He lived as if success was already his. Slowly opportunities came. Scholarships appeared. Mentors arrived. Years later, that same student stood not in poverty, but in abundance. Not as a worker scraping by, but as a CEO running a multi-million-dollar company. His leap was not luck. His leap was focus. His leap was choosing the new self again and again until reality had no choice but to align. So now I ask you, what about you? Will you collapse the same reality tomorrow? Or will you finally focus your attention, your energy, your breath into the leap waiting before you? This is not casual. This is not optional. This is destiny. The next leap cannot wait. Because every moment you delay, the old self wins. Every moment you hesitate, the prison rebuilds. But every moment you choose, the future bends in your favor. So here is the call. Right now, declare your leap. Choose one word that symbolizes the next step of your life. Just one word. Type it in the comments. That word is your signal. That word is your anchor. That word is your declaration to the field, to your brain, to your heart, that the leap is real. Do not let this pass. Words are power. Words are energy. Words collapse possibility into form. Write your word now and let it echo across your reality, because here is the deeper truth. At the end of this journey, you are not here to watch miracles from a distance. You are not here to admire the leap in others. And the question that now rises is this: if you are not here just to observe miracles, then what are you truly here for? You are here to become the miracle, not to chase it, not to wait for it, not to admire it in someone else's life. You are the miracle. You always have been. The entire journey has been leading you to remember this truth. Think about what you have discovered. You heard the whisper calling from within. You realized consciousness is the creator. You broke the invisible prison of habits. You learned that your brain can be rewired. You leapt into embodiment. You faced the tests and chose again. You practiced daily. You anchored with ritual. You joined the resonance of community. You claimed your leap. And now, at the end of this path, the revelation is clear. The miracle is not outside you. The miracle is you. Pause and let that sink in. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are not waiting for permission. You are the living proof of infinite possibility. Every breath you take is creation in motion. Every choice you make bends reality. Every thought you think echoes into the field. Do you feel the gravity of that? And if you doubt it, let me tell you a story. There was a teacher, ordinary, unnoticed, living paycheck to paycheck. She stumbled across a video much like this one. At the end, the call to action was simple. Write a declaration in the comments. She hesitated. Then she typed 3 words. I choose love. Simple, unremarkable, but it was her line in the sand. From that day forward, she practiced what she declared. She breathed it in the morning. She carried it through her work. She held it when challenges came. And slowly, everything shifted. Her relationships healed. Opportunities appeared. Her joy expanded. And one day she looked back and realized she had become the miracle she was once searching for. Not because someone saved her, but because she chose. So what about you? What will you declare? What miracle will you embody? This is not a time to stay silent. This is the moment to speak. Right now, write a commitment in the comments. Just a short phrase, a declaration, a promise to yourself. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Words collapse energy into form. When you declare, you activate. And when you activate, miracles unfold. Say it, write it, claim it, because the miracle is not waiting. The miracle is you, the moment you dare to declare. And if this message has touched you, if the whisper inside feels louder than ever, then take action. Like this video, save it. Share it with those you love, because miracles multiply when they are spread. Do not keep this light to yourself. Let it ripple outward. And do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because this journey does not end here. More leaps are waiting. More revelations are coming, and you deserve to receive them. Most importantly, I thank you. Out of millions of videos you could have chosen, you chose this one. That choice matters. That choice is a signal. That choice is a step into your own miracle. So help me make this space better. Comment your reflections. Share your voice. Let me know what speaks to you, so that together we can create content that brings even more value, even more transformation. Now I ask you one final question. If you are not here to wait for miracles, not here to observe them, then who are you? Here to be. The answer is simple, but it is everything. You are here to be the miracle.